All right, we are back to celebrate, well, in the continuation of celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Today, we want to focus more on the professional executive side of the business, the label side of the business. And our guest today is somebody that is very near and dear to my heart. Somebody who I have literally grown up with, somebody who I've watched become an amazing figure in the game, in the culture. Love everything that she's doing, from Harlem to the president of Roc Nation. So many things that she's accomplished that I'm just so proud of her for. So this is a personal episode for me. We have the talented, the beautiful, the professional, the elegant, classy Shari Bryant with us today.
Big claps. Everyone clap.
This is family. Like, this is like family. Like, I don't use that. This is like real family here today.
Yes.
So, Shari, thank you for joining us, first of all. This is something that I've been wanting to do for some time with you. But I'm glad we now have the chance to do it and celebrate 50 years of hip hop.
Before we celebrate 50 years of hip hop, Clark Kent ignored my question, but I don't think Shari's going to ignore my question. What was Maul like as a child?
Oh, my God. Shit.
Honestly, I think if you know Maul now, you could pretty much figure
He
that
hasn't
out.
grown at all?
There you have it. You know what I mean? That's our episode right there. Haven't changed.
So with this series, some of the first questions we've asked is, what's your first memory of hip hop? Before we get to there, I want to know your first memory of Maul.
What is my first memory of Maul?
It was definitely at the old.
It was definitely at the office,
old
825
Defton
8th Avenue.
Yep.
I used to remember Maul and Vaughn were like attached to the hip,
Yep.
always looking like they was up to no good.
We were definitely up to no fucking good, for sure.
At least Vaughn grew up.
Why are they killing you on here?
That's just what it is.
Is that just what it is?
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, like Maul said, we grew up and we were like really close. The special thing about Rockefeller was it was very family knit, family
100%.
oriented.
100%.
I never felt like I was going to work, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I loved going into the office and we would just always have jokes and laugh. I don't remember one specific moment. I just remember having fun. You know, that's just what I equate Maul to.
Like you say, Shari, that environment back then was it was more like, it felt like college.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody at the cubicles, everybody in their offices playing music, listening to artists, potential artists, going through demos. It was just a whole different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and to see where you've come from then, from 1199 in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
To the president of Roc Nation, like, it's something that, you know, whenever I hear people speak your name, I smile.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yo, I got a meeting with Shari. And I just laugh to myself like, you got a meeting with Shari? What the hell is going on in the world, yo? But
right. I'm
it
like
makes sense
actually
because,
out here signing things.
oh my God. But it's
going
like,
into the world.
it makes so much sense because looking back, you were always the one that, no matter how much chaos was going on in the office, Shari's energy was the same every day. Shari could be having the worst day and nobody would know.
Yeah.
Like, her energy was always professional, always, she was willing to listen, and then she would look at you and say, okay, but now how do we fix that?
Right.
It was always a problem. She's always been a problem solver. She's always been a great listener. But she's always been a straight shooter. She's going to give it to you straight. She's going to love you, but she's not going to sugarcoat it, which is why the position that she holds today is deserving. It makes sense. It's very important. And I think it's very inspiring to not only, you know, women, but especially women from a certain community, a certain neighborhood, to know that you can reach levels in this culture that maybe we don't really recognize all the time or even think is possible.
1000%.
Because, you know, I mean, we could talk forever on, you know, memories and shit like that, but Shari has always been about handling business, being professional, and doing dope work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's always been like that with Shari. So
thank you.
I want to start from the beginning though, Shari. Take us to the moment at Rockefeller that...
Thank you, Julian.
You want to start that over? Yeah. Take us back to the moment, even before Rockefeller, where you felt like, yo, this is something I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of the culture. not necessarily as an artist, but I want to impact the culture and I want to break down doors and blaze my own trail in this culture.
Yeah. So I didn't know. So ironically, me understanding what I wanted to do in the business was directly attached to Rockefeller because Damon was from 1199, right? And he would, I saw the progression. I didn't really know what he was doing, but I was like, okay, whatever he's doing is working, right? He went from Damon that my mom used to babysit to being on TV, and all I did was watch videos. That was all I did. Like I woke up every day. I never watched cartoons. I can't relate to cartoons. Like people would ask me, like, you watch this? I'm like, no. But I could tell you every hip hop and R&B
what they was wearing,
video, what they were wearing, all of that. I was so enamored by it, but I think that was from my mom because she would always play music. That's all she played was R&B and hip hop, right? And I seen Damon because he used to just come around and it was original flavor, so Ski and Tone. And I would just see them build, right? And I didn't really know what it was. And one day I had asked Damon, I said, can I come to your office? And I didn't really even know that I was asking for an internship, to be honest. I was like, can I come to your office? Because I just wanted to be attached to what he was doing. I was like, this just looks super cool. So it wasn't until I walked into that office that I didn't really know what I was walking into. And then I always say this story, but it's my truth, is that I seen Shaka, the Daras, the Omis, the Carlines. And I said, oh, I could be here because it wasn't glamored up. You know, they looked like my aunts and my mom that I would see every day. So I felt a sense of belonging as soon as I walked into that building. And that was the start of me saying I wanted to be there. I never had a regular job because I was 15 when I walked into the building. And yeah, so I walked in and I was just kind of like, all right, this is where I want to be. And I never turned back. I was in my last year of high school. I finished out that year. I was going back and forth, going to the office from there. And I was just like, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
What year was it when Dame
99.
99.
No, what was
when Dame had said, come to the office? 99.
Yep. It was 99.
Wow. What else was happening? I mean, outside of what Rockefeller was doing, what was happening in East Harlem at that time in regards to hip hop?
What was happening in East Harlem?
Everything.
Because I mean, at that point,
that was was that around the time like Maze
coming off? Yeah, Maze,
Cam.
Bad Boy, but Cam was, I feel like, bubbling at that time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jimmy and Jewels, like.
I don't think Jimmy and Jewels was a thing yet because Jewels came a little.
Were you 97?
99, she said.
99.
Was Jewels? Because I mean, I remember we started Diplomats, right? And I felt like that was the height of like people were introduced to Jewels at that point, but maybe on a
on a real Harlem scale for
he
sure.
He was moving around.
Not like Dipset yet.
Yeah.
On a Harlem scale for sure, Jimmy. If you look at all the videos, everybody's like, yo, who's the skinny dude hanging off the back of the bus going crazy?
Oh, Jimmy, yes. Yeah. In terms of like being, but he wasn't like the artist,
absolutely not.
Yeah. But, and crazy enough, I didn't, Cam's grandmother grew up in 1199 as well. 1199 is like star-studded.
No, 1199 is I don't know what energy is there. I think it's a sense of, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like,
maybe that's
I got to get out of here. Like, I think that's the energy.
It's such a nice community, though.
No, it is. But sometimes it's not the community, it's the people in the community. It's like, okay,
it's
I got to get away
colored doors and shit.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
1199?
Mad times, yeah.
Amazing. What were you doing there?
I mean,
you don't want to running amok, doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing.
The first time I was in 1199, I was like, they consider this the projects? This is nice.
No,
it's not projects.
It's not the project.
I know, but that's why I'm like, why do people act and talk like it's the projects? I'm like, this is a nice community.
Yeah. No, it's co-op, and you have to put money down to get your apartment. I tell people all that all the time. But
that's why I said sometimes it's the people that hang out there. Sometimes they're not even from there. Why are you over here?
Yes.
And 1199 was always known to have cute girls.
Was it?
Oh, yes. 1,000%.
That's why I was lingering there.
1,000%. Like 1199 always had some cute girls that was there. which is why a lot of guys used to find their way, even if they was on the west side, they would find their way to the east side to hang out around 1199 because it was always going to be some cute girls around 1199.
Chopped cheese inventor as well.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of the legacy of 1199.
That is true.
No, Haji's is legendary.
Across the street from, we are across the street from Haji.
I mean, you guys are chopped cheese.
Yeah.
What was the environment like as far as the learning experience? Walking in at 15, 16, seeing everyone there, not even really knowing what the music business was. What did you gravitate to that wanted to keep you there?
So I think beyond, first it was the excitement, right? Just seeing the behind the scenes of something that I love so much and seeing how it, was made and just kind of like how it was all facilitated. And then Jay was my favorite rapper, like hands down. So having access to JayZ was like exciting. But then I got to see how reliant the guys were. And when I say the guys, Jay, Biggs, and Damon were on the women that I was like, oh, the women really run
the women ran the label.
Yeah. Sure. And Carlene, she was just like, I was intrigued with the busyness, like the product. And I mean, it just looked like she had so much to do, right? And I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to be a part of that. And at first it was, Carlene, she was an assistant, but I feel like that's not a correct title for Carlene.
Not even.
No, absolutely not.
And at that time, probably the highest paid assistant of all time.
Maybe not, by the way, because it was still Rockefeller before we kind of like really
Hard Knock Life
sold the really, company.
But how important was it, Shari, for the Carlenes, the Shakas, Dara? How important would you say it was for them to look like you? And come from your culture to inspire you to want to do that? Like, if that was a woman that didn't look like you, do you think you would have been as inspired to do what you do?
I don't know if I wouldn't have been as inspired, but I know I wouldn't have felt confident enough to do what I did, right? So I think there's still, there's a level of like, when you see something, you like wish you could do it. And then there's a difference between knowing you could do it because somebody is in that position that looks like me. And that was, I mean, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't walk in and see those women because I was still young. I was very young. I was shy. I hadn't found my voice at that time. So just being able to have someone come in and be nurturing to me at that age made all the difference. You know what I mean? So 1000%, I would not be here today. I could firmly say that if I hadn't had that representation to kind of like look up to.
What was the difference in, and for those that don't know, 825 was the Universal building, Def Jam was there, but Rockefeller you guys had a floor, right?
Yep. We had a half a floor.
Yeah, the other half was
Murder Inc.
Yeah.
What was the difference?
Such a dope time, man. Like,
I'm jealous of you guys.
Seeing Ja, like, and it's like Shari said, you come from the crib watching videos, and then you go to 825 and get off the elevator, and Ja's running through the hallway. Jay just came upstairs. Damon's in the office screaming about some shit.
Yep.
Like,
always screaming.
Irv is over here listening to something crazy loud. Like, every time you walk past a door, you're literally hearing potential classics that you didn't even realize at the moment. Like, yo, this is coming out in 2 months. This is going to be the number one record.
1000.
And it's like, but everybody was family. Everybody was engaging with each other. Everybody was at each other's cubicles. Me and Vaughn was always bothering Shari. If she had to do work, we had her cubicle fucking with shit. Carlene's doors open. Damon's wrestling with this one. It's like, but when you think back, it's like, but this is real work was being done.
Yeah.
And to look at where Shari is today, I can't keep saying it. It is so amazing to see this shit, man. Like,
did you feel a difference between the Rockefeller side in that office and the Island and Def Jam side? Like, did you guys even want to venture over there? Because again, you said you felt so comfortable with the group you were around.
Yeah. So everybody wanted to be at Rockefeller at the time.
For sure.
Like, they would come upstairs because we had, again, the artists, like Maul was saying, the artists, that was their headquarters. It was the headquarters. So everyone came as if they were going to work. We didn't have no studio there, but they just kind of like came to vibe. I mean, there was no limitations how it is today where it was like you could smoke, you could blow down a room, like they did all of that. So it was definitely, Def Jam had like they had some of that, But it just wasn't the same.
It wasn't the same.
It was different. I don't know how to explain it.
Even from the time you get off the elevator, you just felt the difference. Like, yo, I'm going back to it. Like, it just felt more like, yo, you got to act right down here.
Yeah.
And like on Rockefeller, Murder Inc., that floor, it was more like, yo, we ain't with none of that. We in here, like, everybody chilling.
Yeah.
It was more like a hangout. And looking back, that's almost the perfect environment to create. Because everybody is comfortable. Yeah. Everybody, even though this is your title and this is your role, and I can walk in your office when I want. Yep. I didn't have to call to get a meeting with you.
Yep.
It literally was go to the office, she or he is down there, talk to them, let them know what's going on, what you're trying to do, and we'll figure it out. And I'm talking about every day it felt like that. But work was being done. Yeah. That's very important to state that.
What was the first department you gravitated to?
Marketing.
And
that was Shaka. And I believe I gravitated towards it because I realized that it was the nucleus of the company. And she was the nucleus of the company. Like she got to touch everything, whether it was film, video, being on a photo shoot, you know, even in the studio, right? Because she wasn't the A&R, but she had to be there to creatively just kind of like tie it all together. Yeah. And so I was like, I want to do that, you know? And she, while I was working with Carlene, and that was the thing that, because Rockefeller was so small and boutique, it was kind of like you could touch everything. You know, there wasn't a limitation on what you could do. And I would do both. So I worked with Carlene, made sure, you know, I did my job there, but then also, you know, found time to like assist Shaka. And it wasn't about a paycheck at that point. It was just like, what's the opportunity? You know what I mean? And she, I remember one day she walked in and she was like, I'm going to assign, it was me, Eve, who works, she's a booking, you know, agent now, amazing agent, and Adrian at the time. And she was like, I'm going to assign y'all artists. And she gave me Young Guns as my first project. Eve had got Freeway or it was the other way around. And one of them got Oskino and Sparks. And Emmanuel always had Beanie Siegel. So we all got assigned our acts. And man, I treated Young Guns like they were whole. You know, at the point I was like, this is my first project.
It's my shot.
Yeah. And how do you, I mean, I think that's great because you were young at the time. And outside of the obvious of them being called Young Guns, they were kids. Like, first need for what? Like 17, 16?
Yeah, we're a year apart.
Yeah.
How did you approach that, having no real experience in what marketing is or who they are? They're from Philly. They're not. Yeah. Like, how did you even approach that?
Well, give me some credit. I was there for a year and I'm a fast learner. So I soaked up so much.
That's why I'm asking. I'm asking. How the fuck did you do that?
No, meaning like, I'm a sponge and I soaked up so much. And again, I was working under Carlene and Shaka. Yeah. And when I got the project, it was intimidating for sure because it was like, all right, this is being put in your hands. But I did learn a lot that I was just applying to them. And, you know, it was, and by the way, I still to this day use some of these things because of the business evolving, you learning as you go, right? Yeah. So I was learning a little bit as I went, but I found the confidence to never show what I didn't know. I'm like, I'm going to figure it out one way or another, you know? And the good thing about Rockefeller was because we had that family environment, we could always go and ask for a question. You never felt like you were dumb or you weren't up to par because you didn't know something. It was so comfortable to ask what you didn't know. Yeah. So
how do you feel about because a lot of people don't know, you had a major part of the whole Dreamchasers taking off with Meek, worked with Ross. How much of that do you still see like, and you like, okay, my DNA is still there?
Yeah. In the
as far as Dreamchasers, MMG.
Yeah. So what's crazy is that I felt like what we learned at Rockefeller, I just kind of like reapplied to MMG when, you know, when I got the chance to work with Ross. And we applied the same thing. It was about the camaraderie. It was about leveraging each artist against each other. It was about, you know, just making sure that one artist didn't feel bigger than the other. And then we just kind of like approached things as a unit. And it worked, right? It was like the same. I always tell people the blueprint is there. It's just as much as you're going to follow it, right? But it takes a lot of dimming down the ego and being like, you know, operating as one. So it was, and Ross, I always give credit to Ross. He was an amazing leader in a sense of he wanted all of them to win, you know, because it takes that person to like really truly want it and not appear like you want it for it to work. And he was amazing with that. I mean, there was nothing that we couldn't ask of him to leverage his brand to help MMG.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? And that was a big part of why it worked. And I mean, how much of it do I see today? They're all, you know, Wale's in a much different place than he was when we had originally signed him. Meek became like, you know, a household name. And I do attribute that to like the foundation that we laid.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So.
And even to backtrack a little before that, and in no way do I want to get in any Rockefeller breakup mess, just more personally, your view of being in a system for so long and now that system is done.
Yeah.
How did you feel personally, outside of any breakup mess, like you personally sitting there like, all right, I've been in this system since I'm 15, 16.
Yep.
What the fuck? How do you navigate through that?
It was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It was because as much as I felt like I knew what I was doing, it was still different to have to go out in the world and not have that comfort anymore. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize that because I was like really proud and like, oh, I've done a lot. But it was a reality setting moment once I had to go out there in the real world. Because I mean, you know, it felt like home. So leaving home is, you know, always scary. And so that took an adjustment for sure. And then I also felt like because I was so young, because I was still young when Rockefeller kind of broke up, I felt like I had to reprove myself. You know what I mean? Like I felt like people thought I was protected and that it wasn't really the work. It was the protection of Damon and, you know, and so I had to go out there and really kind of like do it all over again. I had to go be an assistant after I was already a marketing director, kind of at Rockefeller. And that's why I always tell people, don't be afraid to take a step backwards to move forward, because sometimes it could set you up for amazing things, you know? Huh? You know?
We know.
But even and that's
right. Oh,
that's also what's like so fucked up about the business and even how they like view joint ventures. Like to call Rockefeller a joint venture, I know sounds blasphemous, but at the end of the day, that's what it was. And how you both have described that environment of why we love Rockefeller sounds like it came from the office environment that was there.
100%.
And to think and to have the arrogance that once that breaks up, all the people that work there didn't add value and that they don't have anything to offer, they need to start from the beginning, is fucking insane to me. Like these people gave you the sauce.
Right.
They should, like you need them.
Right.
Just because that broke up doesn't mean anything.
I never asked Shari this personally or publicly, so I guess I'll ask publicly. How did this split affect you personally, on a personal level?
It was a lot. I was sad. Like I had a lot of moments where I cried about it, you know, because I had, you know, Damon, I felt like I had a sense of loyalty to because he introduced me to the business. He was the reason why I got in. But I also known Jay for just as long, right? And he was always a protector for me as well. And Biggs I met Biggs once I started working at Rockefeller, but he was the first person to say, that girl is dope. Like really like put the arm around me. And so to see them, to come up and again, see such a family oriented environment shift completely. Yeah. That shook me because I'm like, all right, what is, I think I still kind of like, because I've seen that, I almost look out for it. And that's not 100%. Good because you don't want to anticipate bad, but because that was such just a shocking moment that I didn't see coming.
Nobody thought that would happen because of just the bond, the relationships, the chemistry, the time. So when that happened, it almost felt like, yo, that could happen to anybody. Yeah. Like there's no friendships, there's no loyalty, there's no nothing that could stop. Like business might divide a lot. Yeah. And we speak from that, obviously from a personal level as well. But it's crazy because that situation helped me deal with our situation in a weird way. It kind of prepared me.
Yeah.
I was very mindful of a lot of things that I said going through that, because I know that a lot of things are in the moment, and you hate 10 years from now to look back and be like, oh, why did I even, you know what I mean? So that situation with the split with Rockefeller, like yourself, it affected me in ways I didn't think it would.
Yeah.
But it also prepared me.
Yeah.
And like you said, like even for you now, it kind of prepares you for future things, like to watch out for certain things and to even prevent it.
Exactly.
Like,
I was going to say that.
I think we need to, I've seen this before, communicate. Let's communicate. Let's put everything on the table.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't need these side conversations, because that is going to cause a divide.
Yes. Yes. And just to add, you could see the hurt in all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of what, the reasons why. But it just was an uncomfortable situation for everybody across the board.
I remember one time we went to, Jay had a birthday party downtown. So I think he was there. Jay had a birthday party downtown. And this was the first time I think I saw Dame since the split. And Dame walks in, and he kind of was just walking in looking to see everybody that was there.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, he was like, oh, okay. But I'm like, you here too? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, but why I gotta be, you know what I'm saying? Like, am I not supposed to celebrate? Like, we're not supposed to come to Jay's birthday?
Right.
But it was always that. And it was like, yo, come on, man. Like, this can't, we can't keep moving like I don't want it to be like, yo, you going to Jay's party?
Yeah.
Yo, Dame might come through. You know, he gonna start looking at us funny. Like, yo, where are you here? But it's like, you here.
Yeah.
And we can still love. The business may be done.
Right.
But it's still love.
Right.
How important was it when I think Jay's rock and roll induction, where he saluted Dame and his work and his everything he did for Rockefeller. How important and how good did you feel that he gave Dame those flowers on that stage?
I wasn't surprised, honestly. I think people were surprised because it was on such a big platform, but I see it behind closed doors. You know what I mean? Like, I see that there's still a respect because they created something so historic. And I don't think any of them deny that. You know, I think that the people have turned it into more like it obviously was a tumultuous time. And, I don't even want to get into what, is out there, but I've always seen the acknowledgement, in some way, shape, or form. So
it's always respect.
It's always respect, even behind closed doors. So it wasn't like it was great to see it publicly, but it also wasn't
because it kind of quieted everybody that kind of felt like there was no respect.
Yeah,
it kind of was like, all right, everybody shut up. He's showing you that he still has love and respect for him and appreciates everything that they
1000%.
Created together.
Yep.
Well, I wasn't going to ask any of these questions, but now that you guys break up, what did both of you feel off the first verse of Lost Ones when it came out? And what was the conversation internally?
The first verse of Lost Ones? I can't even remember the first verse of Lost Ones.
I remember
It's the first time he addressed Dame. Chrisette Michele record off Kingdom Come.
Oh, I mean, stuff like that to me, I never really, again, because it's just such a personal thing, I never really paid a lot of that any mind. Again, like Shari said it, because the history is made. It's nobody can deny that. Nobody can take that away. It's unfortunate because I felt like there was more history to be made, but
I was 12. I was paying it some mind.
Well, but also it's like, again, it was such a personal thing. And from, a different lens and being around these guys on a personal level, I never really cared to, pay that any mind. Like I try to ignore whenever I see any interviews and any clickbait things and headlines about that, like, because I know that there's genuine love and respect there, and it's gonna always be that. And obviously the split happened and business ended, but like Shari said, history is history.
Yeah.
And what Rockefeller did, and even now the way it inspires, even like a Meek with Dreamchasers, and everybody get their own imprints and be their own bosses and get into clothing and wine and spirits or whatever, things like that. It just, all of that came from those group of men that just had a vision to just be businessmen, owners, entrepreneurs. And, you know, you told us no, okay, that's a no from you, but we still gonna go make it happen. It was just a certain energy that I think that they injected into the culture of hip hop.
Yeah.
That I think is undeniable, and nobody can tell a story of hip hop, and we can't celebrate 50 years of hip hop without celebrating Rockefeller.
Of course not. From the family tree of the artists that we all saw on the t-shirt, but exec-wise, that tree is crazy if you really get into it.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Biggs launched that tree? Did y'all remember? Do you remember that? He put it in Forbes, the exec tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. Like, obviously, you know, but to see it, like, was like, wow.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I saw that and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a clear injection of DNA into the culture. Like, they came from here.
Yes.
And now they're, you know, the branches are in so many different areas.
Yep.
And, you know, I know Biggs talks about it a lot. Like, he's so proud of you. Like, so proud of you. Like, but if you knew Shari when she was a young girl, you knew that she was going to be somebody. Like, she just had just a very professional energy and always was just so ladylike. And it was like, she's going to be somebody. I don't know what, but she's going to make it and she's going to do dope things. And I think that that's something that everybody from that lineage can look at and be proud of. Like, we knew this was going to happen with Shari. Like, this is not a surprise to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
When you had to take I mean, I don't consider that a step back, but I understand why you, you know, worded it that way. What was the first project that you felt like once you took that assistant role post breakup, that it was like, all right, now you guys are taking me serious like the way you should have before?
Right. So funny. So when I took the assistant role, it was to Tracy Waples at Def Jam. She was the senior vice president. Yep. Amazing. Flyest that has ever done it in the music business. For sure. But it was so I obviously had known Tracy before, you know, I took the role, and I just said, you know, as long as I don't fall short on being your assistant, can I work projects as well? And she agreed to it. Love that. And there was a bunch of projects that were like smaller projects that I worked, but the defining moment was Jadakiss. It was The Last Kiss. Okay. And the reason why that project, you know, people started like paying attention to me in the building was because it was at a time where we were heavily relying on radio. That was the only way to be successful. And Jadakiss was, you know, in terms of it was like Neo, Rihanna, Mariah. So he wasn't the top priority act there. And we were like, I just approached it and was like, yo, he has so much history. He means so much to the culture. How can I turn this around and translate this and make that the campaign? And so at the time, Steve-O and Kendall, best of both offices, they were downstairs. And I kind of like just formed my own group because I knew that I couldn't rely on the heavy hitters of the building because they was focused on the heavy hitters, right? Yep. So I was like, all right, who's going to be, you know, so it was kind of like the next generation of heavy hitters, how I looked at it. And we formed this group and it was the beginning of the vlog era. So we were filming everything. We made everything a moment. And I remember Jadakiss sold at the time, it was like 90,000 first week. And L.A. Reid was like, how did he do this? Like, I don't understand. He doesn't have a record at radio because that's what success meant. Right. And they used to have these not senior staff meetings every Wednesday. And they called me in and they wanted me to take a lap. And it was just, that was the moment. I remember it clear as day. And then the next thing after that was Tracy ended up leaving Def Jam. And I got promoted to like junior product manager. And Nas, I was already working Nas with Tracy at the time, but like assisting her. But I ended up kind of like leading on it because Jay and Nas were coming out around the same time. And once Tracy left, he was like the only person I want to work my project is Shari. So that was another thing where people was like, wait, Shari? You know, like, and I'm like, yeah, Shari, you know? Like,
I'm like, yeah, Shari. I'm like, yeah, Shari.
You heard that correctly.
I'm like, yeah, Shari, yes.
Yeah, fucking right.
And that was where it kind of like just took off, and then building started calling me. And
that was Life is Good?
That was Hip Hop is Dead.
Hip Hop is Dead, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yes, I worked Hip Hop Is Dead with Tracy, and then we put out the Untitled, the
Untitled,
controversial album.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Jesus. I remember that.
I don't remember the original title, I'll be honest with you.
Didn't he show up to the award show with like some was it a jacket or something on with
Him and Khalees showed up on the red carpet wearing...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I remember that was a time.
That was
Woo.
stressful.
How much have you seen?
And Khalees gave a quote from John Lennon,
Yeah.
which I won't say.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember going, well, why did John Lennon say that?
You have
Crazy
to remind me after
fucking
this because I don't remember. But yeah, it was crazy.
The quote from John Lennon is, women are the original.
Oh.
And that's what Khalees was saying during the interview with Nas. And I was sitting there, not a woke human being. I was just like,
John Lennon said
why
that?
did John Lennon say that?
Yeah. Like, he really said that? Like, okay. I never knew he said that, but all right. How
And
much
Khalees threw the hard ER.
Oh, as she should. How much of the business side
Mm-hmm.
of the industry have you seen change over the last 20 years? Like where it is today? Like when you first came in, it was obviously the way things went and the way things go now drastically different.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's more difficult? Do you feel like it's easier? Do you feel like there's more talent today? Do you feel like it's easier to find talent today? Do you feel like it's easier to develop talent today?
So the barrier of entry is like so low today opposed to what it was, I feel like 20 years ago. But with every bad, there's a good, right? The accessibility, being able to scale faster is there because we have now the internet and we have streaming and, we can just reach people at a higher capacity. But that also, just kind of like holds you back in a sense of when you're trying to develop things because it's hard to break through the noise because everybody's in it now, right? Budgets have changed drastically. I remember like just for TV, for diplomats, for example, I remember we spent $300,000 on TV advertising, right? You'd be lucky if you get $20,000
Right.
and we're not doing TV advertising because that's just out of the question in today's time.
Right.
But, so the budgets have changed. So it forces you to, in my opinion, especially in the position I'm in now, because I don't have access to unlimited funds. We're not a major label. So you got to know where to spend the money. I can't just be throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. I really have to make calculated, it's still a risk because you don't know if it's going to work or not, but it has to be like super calculated. And I put that pressure on myself and the team because for me, I look at it like we are the coaches, so we should know where it's going, right? But it's just I've noticed that it just, and honestly, you know what, as we're talking about it, because I was going to say it's taking a lot longer to break through, but in reality, back then, we were developing artists for a long time before we put it to market anyway, But I just think at the pace that it's going today, you're kind of like held to a higher standard in terms of like how quick you can turn something around. But you don't want it to be microwavable, And so I battle with that every day in terms of like, I had to take 4 years of not being hot, like quote unquote hot to really stay true to what we believe in. And, now people are talking about Meta and Ombre and, just kind of like what we're doing on the hip hop. I mean, I've had so many people within the last month hit me like, I see what y'all are doing, but that took 4 years of like looking like, and me listening to people say, yo, you know what y'all need to do? They're telling me what we need to do. And I'm like, at some point, y'all will get it,
Right.
So it's just, we're in a game of really understanding how to develop things and staying committed to it and, being not hot for a couple of years to get to where we primarily want to be, but I want to be in the legacy business. And that's the other thing, is that you got to choose what business you want to be in. And it's no problem if you want to be in the volume business and you want to keep throwing and seeing what hits. But we want to be in the legacy business because I feel like I have to be in that, working for Roc Nation. I can't turn Roc Nation into a distribution company.
Right.
We have our arm, but in terms of like the label, I feel like we have like high acts to follow. Jay is the blueprint, then J. Cole, then Rihanna. I want to create the next generation of that. And so it just takes a lot longer now, but it'll sustain us over time.
I love what y'all have done with Maida.
Thank you.
And Andre,
one of my favorite projects of the year.
Yeah, to watch y'all, again, artist development, an art that's lost.
Yes.
Now everybody comes in and thinks that they're ready and they're hot and they know what they're doing, and it's like, no, you don't.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But do you still find yourself applying a lot of the old ways to the new generation?
Yes, 1000%. And I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel like a dinosaur because it's understanding. It's a balance still, right? It's taking some of the old and applying it to the new, and just figuring out how to make, because we used to have street teams. The internet is now our street team, but it's still that same thinking of what are you going to do to make something stick? What's the eye-catching moments, And so I do apply a lot of what I've been taught, and I still want to build, obviously career artists, but touring artists, and that's something that we focused on early on. And so, every day I'm applying something that I've learned 20 years ago to what we're doing today. It's just figuring out ways to modernize it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Was that something that you, in those early conversations with Jay, once you and Omar had taken over, of kind of revamping what the Roc Nation label is rather than the management, was that kind of a stick and deal point you had? Like, you have to give me some time to really develop. I'm not in the business of doing that. Was that a conversation y'all actually had?
Yes. I said that we need a runway.
Yeah.
I was very clear on that early on, but it was music to Jay's ears. You know what I mean? He's just like, of course, that's how, if you look at Jay's career, it was about a runway. It was about people thinking, he wasn't as big as another artist because the sales weren't as big, but then he was able to translate and move culture in a way no other artist could, even if they were outselling him, And so he understands that. And I don't really think I could do it anywhere. I was going to be able to do it anywhere other than here, other than where I am today.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of been what's weird with majors in particular. Like, I love the Tunji move with Def Jam because we know Tunji needs a runway and he will deliver.
Yep.
But before that, I felt like they were just trying to replace presidents that are going to, let's put them on a year contract and try to see if they could get something in 6 months.
Yeah.
And majors wonder why they're failing.
Yeah.
Like, I understand they also have higher ups to talk to, but how do you think you could build in the major system, looking at the history of how long things have taken, that you wouldn't want a president that's like, well, I'm here for 5 years.
Right.
Give me 5 years to at least start.
That's right. That's the minimum.
Yeah.
You have to have 5 years to change it.
Because they're just, it's musical chairs of just replacing different people. And I don't understand why some of the smartest people I know don't see where the effect comes from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
You brought someone in for a year. They tried to sign one person, didn't work. And then you fired them and brought someone else in.
Yeah.
Let them cook.
Yeah. 1000%.
And don't try to get a quick fix. Like, the Def Jam legacy is what it is. But to keep that legacy going is not going to be signing somebody from TikTok.
And I think Tunji's really doing a great job at that. And he gets it, and he gets it. And, I can't diminish what other chairmen and companies are doing because it's a business that has to be ran and you have to make money to keep the lights on. And sometimes somebody else just has to stick their neck out to do it so that everybody else can do it. And I'm like, if that's what this means for me and Omar at this given time, I'm okay with that because it adds to our culture, right? If we're able to break Maida, break Ombre, break Dixon, break RJ, all of these artists that we truly believe in, that we've signed. The other thing is that we signed these artists at like nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 12,000 followers, 10,000 followers, because we didn't have the same bank to compete in terms of like getting all the artists that everybody was going after at the moment. But if we're able to show people that it can be done this way, I'm sure other people will do it.
The game.
It changes it. Yeah. And that is bigger than, then we're adding, it's beyond us. We're doing this for a bigger purpose. And, so.
How hard was it going from a situation like Rockefeller and then having to, one, prove yourself and earn respect as a Black woman? How hard was that?
It was really hard because, one, not only was I a Black woman, I was also a young Black woman, right? So again, I just dealt with people looking at me as if I wasn't capable, not because I didn't show them, but just because it was like, it didn't make sense. Yeah. Like a 18, I don't know how old I was when I left Rockefeller, but young, I mean, I was like, that doesn't even make sense to me right now that she would be doing this. I remember Damon, we were in a meeting with Def Jam and he was like, Shari's leading the meeting. And I mean, papers shaking in my hand. Like, what? But he gave me that confidence and he gave me the positioning to show people that I did belong. But it was tough. It was tough getting over like imposter syndrome and like, do I really belong here? Yeah. And it was a road. It was a journey.
Speak about that, because I think that a lot of people have to deal with that and they don't know that they're dealing with it. Like when you second guess yourself and you think that you're not capable and you question every move and decision you make, like what helped you get over that?
So I am so like, sometimes I don't have the answer other than God. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my simple, like, I don't even know how to communicate it. But it was just like, I remember the moment where I had this like wow moment to myself where I was like, okay, Shari, you keep doing this over and over again. Like, it's not luck anymore. You know, you have to start believing that, you know your stuff. And that was a game changing moment for me. But it wasn't anybody that in particular that said it to me. It was just one moment I was sitting down and I was like, all right, you know what you're doing, Shari. Like, stop doing this to yourself. Because it was stressful at times where you're just like, thinking that you're guessing along the way and you don't belong. And, so I dealt with it. But it was just that one aha moment that came to me. And it kind of like took me on a different path from there. I'm
glad you said, that moment of it hitting you and you being able to just think about it. Because I had an aha moment with you years ago when we were in Harlem. It was Harlem. I don't know if it was the Harlem Parade. It was something going on. And I bother you about this all the time because you did not fucking listen to me. We're in Harlem.
Oh.
I don't know if it was the Harlem Day Parade. It was something or a block party.
How did this lead to this?
Nah, because
gentrified Harlem or
no, this is Harlem. Like this is. So I'm like,
you'll hear the story and know that it wasn't gentrified.
So we out. I think it was a block party.
Harlem Tavern.
And I met up with Shari, her and her crew out there. So I woke up, we all hanging out on the corner. So in our culture, you have to have this innate ability to just kind of sense energy, to feel like, right? So I'm looking around, it's music, people drinking, people eating. And I'm standing there, I'm talking to Shari, and I'm looking around, I'm like, yo, Shari, stay right here. Because I don't know what's about to happen, but something is going to happen out here. So she's like, what? I'm like, yo, listen, just chill. Stay right here. Shari like, all right, cool. 5 minutes later, Maul, I'm going to go walk over there to say hi to somebody real quick. I'm coming right back. Don't move. I'm like, Shari, don't go over there.
She's like, plot to Boys in the Hood.
she like, no, I'm coming right back. Don't move. I was like, all right, I'm going to stand right here. Shari literally takes 4 steps into the street. Boom, boom, boom. They start busting, like they start shooting, right? So now everybody duck and start running. So I jump behind. It was like a flower. We in front of it's a jazz bar on the corner. And they had like these big flower pots in front of the jazz bar. So I jumped behind the flower pot.
So the dandelion blocked the blip.
Right. So by the time the shot stopped and everybody kind of like cleared, I look up, Shari is in the sewer. Like the the grate on the street. Both of her feet, because she had on like some wedge sandals. Both of her feet are in the grate in the street. She breaks both of her ankles.
I broke both of my feet.
Both?
Both of them.
Both of them.
Because she was trying to run once. And I said, Shari, do not go over there. Stay right here with me because I'm telling you, it's something I feel out here. Something is getting ready to happen.
I feel like you're victim blaming.
No. I'm just...
Like, how did that story... You see, I had such a serious moment.
If she would have just listened to me, I was trying to save my sister, help her out. But no, she wanted to go say hi to some boy that was over there.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. I'm like, all right, I'm going to stand right here and wait for you. Not even 10 seconds, they start shooting. My sister breaks both of her feet.
I was in a wheelchair for 2 months.
She was in a wheelchair for 2 months.
Hard
They had to carry her into the car and take her to the hospital. This is a true story.
Yeah.
And I say that to say, I love you, you know that. But just listen to me sometimes.
Well, now I want to know how did you get into the sewer?
Well, you know, right on off the curb.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about.
She was running because they were shooting.
Yeah, of course.
You're not looking down to see.
I just fell.
Okay.
And
The way
she
you
had
described it, I thought you was
sewer.
you tried to
just her.
burrow yourself.
No. She fell
That
because
probably would've been
the grate of the sewer.
Yeah,
She had on wedge sandals, and the wedges went into the grate of the sewer, and so she was trying to move while her shoe was stuck, and that's how she ended up.
I tried to sue the city.
They wasn't hearing it. They was like, where you was at? Harlem? Nah.
You knew what you was doing there.
Yeah, like
Maybe
I
the
was
wedge
like,
company.
look at this street. My aunt went and took pictures of the street.
that was great. And you know what's funny? I didn't know that she broke her feet until maybe like the next week. I knew she was hurt because she fell, but I didn't know it was a break. And then she hit me. She was like, Maul, I'm in a wheelchair. Like both of my feet are broke. I was like, are you okay? She said, yeah, I'm good. And I said, I told your ass to stay right there where I was at. She wanted to go say hi to some boy.
Identical fractures.
Oh my God.
I remember my doctor said he's never seen that before in his life.
That's
I
fucking
was in the book.
No, it was crazy.
both feet because one foot takes forever to heal.
Both.
Can you still walk?
I can walk. God.
Yeah, no, she's good now.
He can't.
But that was just a funny moment that Shari and I shared that I had to tell because I was so mad at her. Like, I told you to stay right
I didn't
there.
know where you were going. I'm like, we had an aha moment in Harlem.
Yeah, no, we had an aha. That was the aha moment. I didn't want to say it in the moment because I see you were hurt. But I was like, I told you don't go
You
over there.
definitely told me.
Stay
like,
right. 'Cause
firmly.
You could just see.
No.
You could just see the way the young boys was moving. I'm like, yo, Shari, something is getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
Now I want to know from her story that she was telling before about, trying to realize that she had the confidence to be in this business, sparked this story.
No,
Right.
it's just because I had the
Like, you
confidence.
could make it in the music business, but you can't make it walking in
In the
Harlem.
street.
Right.
Like,
What's the correlation?
Music business is cool. Sewers, not your thing.
That's me. Let me handle the streets.
And by the way, that aha moment that I had with the job was before this. So I guess I
Absolutely.
really
Was it in the wheelchair?
No,
No.
meaning like
no,
that I learned my lesson with work,
Yeah.
but I still didn't have,
the streets.
I didn't learn the
And
street
this is
lesson.
what I was trying to help
Yeah.
Shari with. I got the streets.
Yes.
But I mean, I hate to be corny to like tie everything into hip hop 50, but the story you were telling is what's so crazy about this business.
Mm-hmm.
You being 17, young black girl in the business, and people looking like, nah, she can't do this. When you're the demographic of what we're selling music to,
yeah.
has always been the fucking craziest
Mm-hmm.
thought process and the most arrogant
Yeah.
thought process to anything.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know straight white males are not really like the best example here, but even when I was at Def Jam as an intern, it used to blow my mind when I would be on the internet and they were still trying to do radio. And I'm like, you do realize the person you're trying to sell music to is sitting in your office right now?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
And I went through very similar thoughts that you had
Yeah.
for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to realize, wait, I love hip hop so much. I'm who we're trying to sell music to.
Yeah.
Why am I thinking that I don't know how to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's fucking nuts.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the business has just been so odd to me. Like,
Mhm.
why are we not focusing on the people we're really trying to sell music
Right.
to?
Right.
And maybe that is what they're doing now, and that's where music has kind of strayed away
Mm-hmm.
because we're trying to sell to maybe a TikTok generation that does not particularly care about this.
Yes.
But them not listening to us when we were younger is why we're in the position now.
Yeah.
Because now they're finally trying to sell to the people that are listening, and it's not the culture.
Yep.
Shari, give me your most memorable hip hop moment that you were directly involved in, and your most memorable hip hop moment that you were not involved in.
Oof. My most memorable hip hop moment that I was involved in. I would say, and I'm so bad with retelling stories or remembering exactly what, happened in a specific moment, but I will say that MMG Era was a very memorable moment for me because, again, it was another time of proving, you know what I mean? And people not seeing it. People didn't see it originally. They didn't see the bigger picture. And I was really proud of that moment because I felt like, and I said this in the beginning of our interview, is like, it felt like a direct correlation to what I had learned at Rockefeller. So that moment, like being able to create a movement or, amplify a movement and then springboard artists off of that movement and create like just this whole new conversation in hip hop, it was really meaningful to me, And so I hold that moment dear to my heart. For Meek was like the biggest thing that come out of that. And I was really proud to say I was able to do it again. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, you cool. It was cool what you did before, but can you redo it? And I feel like I'm even at that stage again in my career.
Absolutely.
But it was like super memorable. A moment that I wasn't a part of, I don't know. I'm so tunnel vision that I see moments, but I don't ever, I'm trying to think of like what, I need help. I don't know. I don't know what I feel like. I've seen so many special moments that I felt like were cool, but I was always so tunnel vision into what we were doing that I never, they were great moments, but I never kind of was like, damn, I wish that was me or if I was in that moment. But, I don't know. I got to think about it. I got to come back to you guys.
It's okay.
Were you behind the MMG live stream conference in 2010?
That was my brainchild. I don't know if I should be proud of that now, but yes, it was my brainchild.
Omarion?
Okay.
Yes.
So, excuse me. That's Maybach O. His name was not Omarion. Okay. All right. We're starting to debunk a thing that me and Elliot Wilson talk about often.
Yes.
That conference was the first time I realized I had been marketed. You did your job. Me and Elliot joke about this nonstop, where I'm like, wait, so I tuned in. They made an announcement about the announcement for the announcement.
Yeah.
They announced they were doing a conference. I tuned in. And it was innovative at the time because live stream wasn't like a big thing.
Right.
So hats off to you guys. Elliot promoted it. It was all on the internet. I was at Def Jam at that time, looking at another label shit. Like, oh, I gotta watch this. And they announced it. And then they announced that they were going to announce albums. And here's Maybach O.
Yeah.
That was
fucking worked.
That was the first time I think all of us had met Omarion, by the way. Like the first day.
That's the first day you met Maybach O. Like,
the artist formerly known as.
Yeah, y'all met Maybach O that day.
But yes. I was behind that.
My last question, I want to word correctly so I don't sound like a dick. So many interviews, people are like, give encouraging words to the kids. Can you give real words to kids that actually want to get into the music business? Because we see everything is trendy now. You see podcasting. It's just, that's the world we live in.
Yep.
And you see a lot of people jumping in to careers that they don't, one, are passionate about, two, really care about. So I kind of want to stop encouraging everyone to follow their dreams. Because I don't really think that's your dream.
Right.
I think that's a trend that you like.
Yes.
What would be your advice to someone that thinks they want to get into the music business right now?
I always say chase the opportunity and not the check, right? Because if you are hungry enough to chase the opportunity and not worry about the money, then you know you want to do it, right? Nobody's going to be, you're not going to do a bunch of work and feel fulfilled by opportunities if you don't have a passion for it. And so if you're willing to get in and chase the opportunity, then I know that you want to do the work. And that's kind of how I look at the next generation of executives that I put my energy into as well. It's like, you got to show me beyond a resume that you are passionate about this, right? So I'm big on just chasing the opportunity and not the check. And yeah, I mean, honestly, that's my biggest thing, is like being able to unveil what someone is really in this for. And so that to me is like the biggest thing. The other thing is that I wholeheartedly agree with you on the internet side and people being subconsciously fed information and not really understanding if that's their own thoughts or, to your point, your own dreams. And so it's really important I don't know how to do this. I always tell myself I have to quiet my mind, and sometimes that causes me to get off the internet. But I always encourage young women, because I speak to young women a lot, is like, make sure you're not getting caught up in the sexiness of something, and make sure that it's truly what moves you. But you got to really spend a lot of time. You got to spend a lot of me time to understand what moves you. Yeah. And you can't be afraid to just really invest in that. And it doesn't have to look great. You know what I mean? But as long as it's something that moves you and moves your heart, and you feel like it's, the purpose is behind that, then, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And you have to have the confidence to do that. You know what I mean? Like, because it takes confidence to do something that may not be popular.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? So that's usually my lessons for the younger kids in the next generation.
If you could say anything to the culture of hip hop on its 50th 50th anniversary.
It's birthday.
50th on its 50th birthday. What do you say to hip hop?
If I could say anything, I'm like not good at these questions, guys.
Well, that's something.
It feels like a script.
You can just quote the movie Brown Sugar.
What was it? Hip hop.
I forgot what Sanaya Lathan said.
That would have been a great answer. If I could have just came up.
That would have been hard.
That would have been hard. I mean, like, hip hop, you have changed my life. Like, I am in a position that I've never felt like I would be in. Never felt like it was attainable. And I am able to provide for my family because of hip hop. I'm able to encourage women in just different generations because of my position in hip hop. And so for that, I hold hip hop so dear to my heart. And that's why I feel like I have to continue to do my job, whatever it means for me to protect it, protect what hip hop is, protect the evolution of it, and do it with purpose every day.
Do it with purpose. I like that.
Yeah.
I do want to close on some funnies. One of our biggest clips was when I had asked Maul to break down what Joel's was saying on Hey Ma, as far as that he's 18, lives a crazy life. Plus, I could tell you what the 80s like. And I'm like, well, how old is the girl he's talking to if she doesn't know what the 80s are like? Now I'm going to ask, because now I'm sitting next to someone that marketed the Young Guns.
Yes.
What was Chris talking about when he said, I want to be your mother, your father, your sister, and your brother?
Yeah, everything.
What did he mean?
Said it.
What did he mean?
He ended that.
One of my favorite songs of all time. Why? Like, no one in the office, in the marketing department was like, maybe we just mute the vocals right there.
I never thought about it. If a man come up to me and say, I want to be your mother, your sister, I'm like, oh, you just want to be there for me forever. That's some romantic stuff.
That is not what Shari gonna say. She capping. Shari gonna walk away from that nigga. Shari gonna be like, yo, if you don't get out my face.
Men are territorial. You know what he meant by that.
I don't know what he meant by that.
He did say, I want to be everything.
He wants to be
So
everything.
he summed it up with, I want to be your everything.
Yes.
Like whatever.
And
But
you
there's
need.
so many other ways that, and Chris and Eve both are great rappers who I feel could describe everything
Yeah.
better than saying, to start one of my favorite
be your
records of
mother.
all time. Yeah, I want to be your mother, your father, your sister, and your brother.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's inclusive.
Yeah. He wants to be everything. He wants to be everything.
I guess they were ahead of their time.
I think maybe
100%.
he came at the time. He was in a relationship where this girl came from the hood and she didn't really have everything, and so he came
okay.
and was like, "I'm gonna fill all those voids."
Yeah,
for you."
yeah.
Got it. Great way to clear that up, Shari. I love it.
That's marketing right there.
Absolutely. Well, Shari, first of all, thank you for everything that you've done throughout the years, your contributions to the culture. Thank you for inspiring generations of women, Black women.
Yes.
Thank you for being a amazing role model, an amazing woman, amazing person. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see what you do with the rest of your career in music. I can't wait to see the artists that you usher in and mold and develop, because artists need it. Artist development is something that is lost, but something that I love that y'all still do at Rock Nation. So thank you. And yeah, I love you. You know that.
Thank you.
Family
I love
forever.
you. Thank you. I love you guys. This was a great interview.
Yeah, I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Shari Bryant, Hip Hop 50.
NewRoryNMal.